Welcome to Let's Talk. We are so excited that you have joined us here for our Let's Talk segment today at Gift of Life, Michigan. As you know, Let's Talk is about a discussion and dialogue about the importance of organ and tissue donation. And one of the things that we want to do is always invite you in to all the wonderful things that are happening here at Gift of Life, Michigan. So I am Remonia Chapman. I am the Director of Public Education and Community Relations, as well as our MOTEP program here at Gift of Life, Michigan. And I am joined today by one of my favorite colleagues, David Moulder, the Director of Organ Authorization. David, welcome, and I know we are excited about this discussion.
Good afternoon, Ramona, and happy Donate Life Month.
Absolutely. How could I ever forget that? We are so excited on today, and especially today, we're going to talk about what happens after we receive donor authorization for a potential organ and tissue donor. And so, as you probably know, we believe that organ and tissue donation begins at the Secretary of State's office, or even in your living room, your dining room, or your kitchen, when you sign up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry. That is when the process begins. But then all of a sudden, something happens, and that process is called authorization. And so, David, I am going to invite you to share with us what happens once your team gets that call about authorization for organ and tissue donation.
Well, thank you, Ramona. So I have the pleasure to lead this team of donation support specialists, or as we refer to them as DSSs at Gift of Life, Michigan. I think it's great to start with the makeup of this team. Our DSSs are a very compassionate and dedicated team with a lot of empathy. They have backgrounds in child life specialists. We have Chapman backgrounds. We have those who have grief backgrounds, pastoral care. So a variety of different roles that they bring to the team to help support the families. So when Gift of Life receives the initial referral of a potential donor in a hospital, there's a variety of roles that could potentially respond to that referral. And DSS is one of them. When they get on site, they're collaborating with the hospital personnel to determine is there organ potential in this potential donor, and then starting to collaborate with the hospital on timing of appropriateness of when to have that donation conversation with the families.
David, I know that our donation support specialist, your team is really doing a lot of different things to do that. And I know that, there's a part that is definitely focused on the care of our donor. But tell me a little bit more about exactly what your team does in that process as well.
Yeah, just like every role at Gift of Life Michigan is such an important role. The main focus that the donation support specialist role is to have donation conversations with families. And when we're meeting these families, they're on the ICU and they are there in their darkest days. Their loved one is not doing very well. And the first thing we're going to do is collaborate with the hospital to make sure that we get any information that could help in these conversations, to make sure that we're meeting these families' needs. When we enter the room and introduce ourselves, that is our first goal and objective, is to make sure that we are meeting the needs of this family. Following the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need to first make sure, are they comfortable? Are they getting sleep? Are they taking their medication and eating? And providing those for them to make sure that they're taking care and making self-care, which is often sacrificed when someone's loved one is ill, is being met. So then we go from that conversation after their needs have been met, and we transition into getting some information about their loved one and what their life was like and who they were as a person, and really starting to understand this potential donor. And then we move forward into the donation conversation, and we explain and share with them all the benefits that donation can provide and how many lives can be saved and changed through the way of organ and tissue donation.
Once again, when you talked about the different skill set that is on your team, and I think that's so wonderful because I think that, our family support specialists are able to pick that conversation back up. That many times, again, we'll hear people say, we'll hear them share that they're sometimes on the phone with a family for hours, sometimes just having that family talk about their loved one. So I'm so happy that we're able to show that, Gift of Life Michigan is concerned about the stewardship of our donor families. And I think your team does a phenomenal job with that. So that is so exciting. And once again, David, I'm so glad that you gave us a glimpse into the team and how that happens. So, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that our community relations coordinators and our community relations specialists, as well as our public education specialists, are persons that are on that initial end of getting people to sign up. So that, again, talking to your family about the importance of organ and tissue donation, so that when your team is activated with all of these wonderful skills that they have, that we're able to have our donation and to honor that particular choice that that particular person has made. So, David, could you just kind of give us a glimpse of the process, how it begins, maybe even a conversation that occurs?
Yeah, it's always important when we get to interact with these families. First and foremost, again, we go back to collaborating with the hospital to see if there's any information that can help us with these conversations to make sure that we meet the families where they're at. Most important thing we do when we first introduce ourselves to this family is to make sure their needs are being met. We really follow the Maslow's hierarchy of needs to make sure, in this time where they're in the ICU, emotions are high. Are they still taking care of themselves and getting that self-care that they need? Are they taking their medications? Have they slept? Do they need anything to eat? Are they thirsty? Just to make sure that they're being taken care of. And then we move forward with introducing ourselves, finding out a little bit about their loved one, and then move towards the understanding of where their loved one is at right now from a medical standpoint. Making sure that family understands the needs of their loved one, and how they're, what the prognosis looks like.
Wow, David, that's really that's a lot because, as you said, at the end of the day, you're talking to a family in one of the most challenging days of their lives, and you're bringing all these skills in. And I love what you said, that prior to, you're making sure that the needs of that particular family are being addressed. And so I think that's so important. So, one of the things, David, that our team does is that we really promote the Michigan Organ Donor Registry, everyone signing up. But what happens when, and we know that that helps in your discussion with your team. So tell me the difference, what happens when we have a person that's already signed up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry, as opposed to when you have to talk to a family and that family, that particular person has not signed up on the Organ Donor Registry.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Ramona. Obviously, those two different interactions, are going to look quite differently. The benefit of when someone's loved one signs up on the registry is they've already made that decision that they want to donate upon death and give back to others and save lives through donation. Sometimes, though, the difficulties with people who sign up on the registry is they don't share that information. So I really encourage those that make that decision to donate, to share with their loved ones. So if they find, their family finds themselves in this circumstance, they already know what their loved one's wishes were. So that conversation is more supportive to the family, to let them know what donation would look like, and offer any support to make sure that we walk alongside them during that journey to honor life through donation. If their loved one did not sign up on the registry, that conversation is going to look a little bit different. At that point, again, we're going to come in, we're going to make sure that their needs are being met, and then again, verify they understand the prognosis of their loved one. And then we're going to transition that conversation into the benefits of donation and all the lives and impacts that donation can have on others. Is also, that their loved one could have a legacy and, within giving these precious gifts to others.
David, you're right. And could you just share with us how many lives can be saved if a person is a single organ donor and also an organ and tissue donor?
Yeah, the amount of lives that could be saved is up to 8 lives with organ donation. And tissue donation is numerous applications that can impact lives tremendously. I don't know the exact number, but I believe we're in the thousands that can be impacted through one tissue donor.
Yes, yes. I know at least 125 starting out. And like you said, that can go into thousands after all of that. So, David, one of the things that, is so interesting is that You talked a little bit about what happens if a family has signed up, if the person has signed up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry, because Michigan is a first person authorization state, which means that once again, it's because we want to honor that particular person's wishes, as you said, with, that we honor life through donation. But what happens if a family chooses not to and is not interested in organ and tissue donation? How does your team handle those particular conversations?
Yeah, so support doesn't stop there just because they didn't authorize donation. We want to make sure that they have a great experience with Gift of Life Michigan, and we want to, show our empathetic and compassion side. So we still provide support in ways of providing information about funeral homes or medical examiners.
So again, I know that one of the things that I'm excited about is that part of my team, our family support specialists, work very closely with your team in ensuring that we have a seamless continuity and continuation of our stewardship of our donor families. But how does your team really work with our family support specialists in providing us the information that we need to start our stewardship part with that particular family?
Yeah, your team, amazing. The support that they continue along that family's journey, and there's items that they can provide, ways to celebrate that decision for their loved one to be a donor. It could be teddy bears, bracelets, flakes, a whole slew of different items that we can provide for this family, as well as that continuation of the grief support and making sure that they have resources with the loss of that loved one to reach out and find help for themselves as well.
David, and yesterday I was talking to someone, and this person brought up that one of the things that they really that has been really touched, they have really been touched by, is the honor walks that we have in the hospital. So could you share a little bit about that, about our honor walks that we also provide for our donors?
Yeah, I would say the overwhelming majority of families love the honor walks. It's such a great way to memorialize and honor their loved one. And what an honor walk is the announcement typically happens within the hospital that one is going to occur, and it is family-driven process, and it is really to line the halls and pay respect to that loved one to give these gifts. And on their way to the OR from the patient's room, halls will be lined with hospital personnel and Gift of Life staff and people throughout the hospital that just want to celebrate that person's life and acknowledge that they have given the ultimate gift as they make their way to the OR.
Oh, wow, like I said, it's I know I have had the experience of participating in a couple of honor walks, and they are, like you said, they are absolutely unbelievable, just almost breathless. And it's everyone's emotions are involved as we honor that particular person. And I think that once again, our core purpose of honoring life through donation becomes so more realistic also as we experience that. So, David, as you know, as your team is there in the hospital providing the support and the stewardship for the family, our team, our family support specialists, are also there to assist and make sure that we, again, have the information that's necessary. And so you brought up the fact that we're able to provide comfort items for families. And one of the things, as we're talking about National Donate Life Month, that has been something that we have been elevating is our comfort blanket events. And tell me a little bit about how your team uses those items, such as our comfort blankets.
Yeah, it's just another way to support these families and love on them. They're going through a very difficult time with the loss of this loved one. So throughout the state, we'll have blanket making parties. Usually those are led by our hospital development or your team, and allows us the opportunity for the community to show appreciation by creating these blankets. It might be just works with yours and making sure that these blankets are provided to these families for, like you said, for comfort.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is something that began back in 2010 with our Michigan donor families as a way to just show, once again, immediate love and thoughtfulness and care and concern for our donor families. And, we've heard so many stories of families that take that particular blanket after their loved one has gone on to the additional final arrangements as far as a funeral home, but they keep that blanket. And I heard someone say that every once in a while, I'll just use this blanket. I mean, I'll use the blanket because I can still have that particular person's aroma there with me. And I feel like a part of that particular person is still there. And so, once again, as you said, it is our job in fact, let me rephrase that. It is our pleasure as the family support team to make sure that our stewardship continues from what happens in the hospital. And so, as you say, that families are able to call in and request information about the donor after that particular person has been an organ donor. And we send out letters to the family, basically also thanking them once again. If your team has already thanked them inside of the hospital, that Gift of Life Michigan is thanking them once again for the gift that their loved one has shared. And so after that, we also send out surveys to those families to always ask how we can do a better job of making sure that we are, providing the support that is needed for those families. And so, since I've had a chance to ask you a lot of questions, I'm going to see if you want to ask me some as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I know we touched upon it a little bit, but tell me a little bit more about when does the family support team become involved in the donation process?
Well, we become, again, after post donation, that once again, the person, either your staff or our donation coordinators on site, might call and ask us and to send certain items to this particular family or send certain items to the funeral home. So once post donation occurs, that is when the family support team gets involved. And so once again, we're able to send items to the funeral home. We work with your team to make sure that once again, we are honoring the particular wishes of the families. Sometimes families will ask us to also send bracelets or pins that they are able to share at the memorial service for their loved one to once again celebrate the gift that this person has given and to show that how this person has honored life through donation because again, they're heroes. And so once again, it is our opportunity to want to just really support that particular effort of this particular family. And so, again, we send the surveys, we send letters that share how much this gift has meant to us. And then we send something later on about our donor family gathering.
Shimon, another question for you. Donation is such a beautiful thing, but it comes, upon tragedy. And I was just curious of what is the common feedback your team receives regarding the donation process?
I think that when we talk to our donor families, as you said, David, it's probably one of the worst days of a family's life. And so that's why we began this discussion talking about that organ and tissue donation really begins when a person signs up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry and when they have that conversation with their family. So that in that particular moment when a family is overwhelmed with their loss of that particular loved one, they're able to honor that particular person's wishes and thoughts. And that's one of the things that people say is that when we talk with our donor families, they talk about how they have felt such a sense of pride that their loved one was able to help someone else. And even though at that particular point in time, when there is such a heaviness and loss in their life, they're still able to step into this human lane of love that happens when we have organ and tissue donation. And I think that's probably one of the greatest stories that we always hear about the testimony of that this person was a loving, giving person, and so that their loved one is able to live on as a result of organ and tissue donation.
Thank you. You touched upon very briefly the donor family gathering. And I want to circle back to that. In the last 2 years, I've had the pleasure and the honor to attend both of those donor family gatherings. Can you tell us a little bit more about the purpose and what that means to these families?
Yes. What happens is that every year Gift of Life Michigan works with Eversight, our partners at Eversight, to once again to honor life through donation and honor those families who have been organ, tissue, and eye donors the year before. And in that particular occasion, we invite families together throughout the state of Michigan, and we have a ceremony that honors that particular person's gift. We encourage the families to send a picture in of their loved one, to send a little quotation in of their loved one. And so as a result, they're able to come together with our staff at Gift of Life Michigan, as well as the Michigan Donor Family Council. And we're able to continue to provide resources to families to support them during this particular time. And so again, it's an opportunity of people with a common experience to come together to share not only the love. Sometimes, of course, there are tears, but there are tears of an exchange of love that we're able to provide. We each person's name is called. We ask the families to stand. We have testimonies from previous donor families as well as our recipients. And at the end, we have where families will stand, recipients will stand around the room and just show that their gratitude of their particular donor. And as a result, it thanks all donors, because I think that that's one of the most moving things is that people, they stand there. I've seen people stand there with signs, you know, heart recipient, 15 years. And so I think that it once again reinforces the impact of the organ donor.
Yeah, it's a really moving event. And one thing I love too is the participation from our organization. All levels, all positions has representation, and they come to support these families and honor them. It really is a moving event, and to see some of the families, like you said, there is a range of emotions, and it is just very important, I believe, for them to see that they belong now to this community, such a special and intimate community of giving and loving. And it's just amazing to be a part of it. I feel so full myself when I leave, and such a respect to these families and these donors. And it just kind of is a reminder of the impact that we make, and how special donation really is.
Yes, yes. By all means, I think, I've been doing this a long time and I still leave those ceremonies with just a heart of gratitude to those families at that particular point in time. So, David, I think that, once again, it's so exciting that we have been able to just come together and talk about how our teams work hand in hand, and how our teams are working together with one purpose, and that is to honor life through donation, to be there for our families pre-donation and post-donation and during the donation process. So I just want to say thank you today for just having this conversation with me. This is a place where we get a chance to just talk.
And thank you for the conversation, Ramona. I mean, great afternoon, great discussion. And again, happy Donate Life Month, and such a pleasure to work with you and your team. And again, to honor life through donation, I can't think of a better purpose in life.
Okay, thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Ramona.
Once again, we want to say thank you, David, and I thank you for joining us today for Let's Talk. Please stay tuned, because we will continue to have additional Let's Talk dialogue as we continue to move forward. Yes, we're celebrating National Donate Life Month, but every month is an opportunity for us to honor life through donation.